Hello, guys. I'm really happy to be on with you guys today. We're going to wait for a few more people to come in to join us. So I'm still in my PJs. I did a couple readings this morning, but I felt the nudge to drop in with you guys and share a lot of what's been on my mind lately as it relates to the Ascension program at large. Oh, wow, that's a good amount of people. I didn't think a lot of people would be joining during the daytime. So I want to talk today, and I'll get more into it in a minute or so, but today I want to talk about the Starseed mission. And I feel like this is going to be a big video. I'll tell you why, because I was going to go for a swim, and the 9 were like, no, we need you to go on now. I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. And my guides always let me know when a video is going to be big, because it's just this inner knowingness. I see that it's something that's needed right now. Thank you for the donation, Mary, and Schler as well. Yeah, so I thank you for saying I look vibrant. I slept 9.5 hours last night. I've been dreaming a lot, and I've been sleeping a lot, and I've been a non-conformist lately. I just kind of do my own thing. I don't follow protocols. I just kind of really just ride those waves of the present moment. And it's been really nice and liberating and just wonderful. So, all right. What are Starseeds? Who are we? We are time travelers. We have arrived from an advanced civilization, which you can equate to being another version of Earth that is futuristic, which you can equate to being star systems like Arcturus and Pleiades and Orion and Lyra, and all of these different star systems. Why would we have come to this planet? And just keep in mind, I'm going to preface with this, that everything I share today is one of a myriad of perspectives. This is what I've been shown as a version of the story, which I'm sure other people have tuned into as well. And I'm going to share how I view it. So, time travelers, we are the ETs that are indwelling our physical containers. We are the Starseeds. I'm going to share an example that will kind of make sense to you guys and help you understand once we tie it into the planetary body of Gaia, or Sophia. So, if you had a prom when you were 15 or 16, and let's say that you were stood up, and this was traumatizing to you, in your linear storyline, in your storyline, as you can remember it, that was a traumatizing event, and that happened. So no one is disregarding the fact that it happened. It happened. The Akashic Records is the same thing. Everything happened. Nothing is necessarily being deleted. But what we are doing is we are either rewriting history, although those historical imprints will always be there for whoever it is that needs to vibrate, or whoever it is that is vibrating at that frequency that is needing to draw that experience, that layer of the Akashic Record. So think of the Akashic Records as a living library. Living library. It's breathing. It's moving. It's like this blob. And every nanosecond of every day, there is more that's being added to the library based upon what we do here and what other systems do, and so forth and so forth. So we're not necessarily going to delete history. There will always be a version of history. But again, it's just a version of history. Because we tend to linearize everything, we say things like, oh, we were stood up at the prom, or, oh, people were killed for this or for that. But there are many perspectives We have to remember that they were dwelling at a different frequency than we are now. There was less availability. They were on a denser plane of reality. Planet Earth wasn't vibrating as high as she is now. She was, from one viewpoint, meaning spiritually she was, but her body wasn't vibrating as high as it is now. The nine are always saying to me, there isn't just one Buddha or one Babaji or one Mary Magdalene anymore. There are millions of us now. Because the planet has been going through her own ascension, just like we have. But she was seeded by other systems, like the Pleiadians. So she was a young planet, just like a young person who doesn't really know how to navigate reality. And then they go through, they slip and they fall, and then they get back up, and then they get knocked down again, and then they pick themselves back up, and they accumulate wisdom, and they start to ascend. So how I view other planetary systems is as the guides to planet Earth. They were older than her. And there was a desire to have an experience. And all of these other systems came together to seed her. But she was the youngin. She was the new kid on the block. So then she had to go through all these different initiation phases, just like we do with our guides and all the ascended masters that preceded us, to remember who she is so that she can then take her power back and no longer allow for infringement, meaning a violation of her free will. So all memories are existing. They are pulsating, all of them. So to you, your prom might be, oh, this is what happened. And you're fixed in that view set or in that viewpoint. But truly, think of all the times you went back into your memory. You time traveled energetically, all right? You time traveled energetically. You moved back into a particular time period in your life where maybe there was friction with someone, or maybe someone stole from you, or maybe someone left you hanging at the prom. And you went back and you started seeing it from a different perspective. You brought a higher dimensional aspect of yourself to that timeline, from this timeline. And when you did that, you reconciled those aspects. You were able to add to what you thought was a solid version of history. And you liquefied it. You crystallized it. You changed your viewpoint. Oh, maybe the person was afraid to come to see me at the prom. Or maybe this happened because in a past life, even though they're simultaneous lives, in a past life, I had abandonment issues, and that was my catalyst to reawaken that issue so that I can then bring resolution to it. So I see why that had to happen. And when you're able to bring that higher perception to the equation, then everything starts to change. But here's where it gets really crazy. It doesn't only change for you. It changes for all the other thought forms that you had from then till now. Meaning every other friend who rejected you after that, or every thought you had that you were inadequate, or that you weren't good enough, or that you were not deserving of. So all of these energies, millions of energies, start to rewrite or reroute themselves. Reroute is a better word. They start to reroute themselves, and they're now on a higher trajectory. We have 710 people here. So your memory banks, you can actually utilize them to travel back into and bring acknowledgement to the situation. And when you do that, you change your present. The same goes for your anxiety. When you're anxious, it usually means that you're picking up on a future timeline and you're feeling overwhelmed. And if you were to just say to yourself, something great is coming because the universe is on my side, the wind is at my back, all right, and these enemies were self-created, they're not really real, the universal forces are working for me and in my best interest, then you would say, oh, there's no need to feel anxious. All it is that I'm intuitively picking up on a future timeline that's going to be incredible that my ego is afraid of. My ego is crawling back into its shell and is listing it as anxiety when in actuality, all it is a future timeline that's going to be arriving that I can't see yet, but that I can connect to now. So I promise you that there were many celebrities that felt anxiety for no reason before they became celebrities. That's because the universe knew something about them that they didn't know about themselves yet. Okay. So every story is subject to change. Every future potential is still subject to change. If you lost a lover that you loved, it doesn't mean it's set in stone. Everything is moving and breathing and can be morphed. And usually what morphs it is your perception of things. And when you alter your perception, you open yourself up to a new dimension, which allows for a new possibility to be present in your field. So how I view it is that we had a free will experiment on this planet. There were ETs and other beings that said, how crazy would it be if we can go descend through the spiral of time and space and disconnect from our higher consciousness? And then we would be in this simulated reality where we have a free will to do whatever we please. We could stab someone if we want. We can kill someone if we want. We can do good things for people if we want. We can be whatever we want to be. It's going to be a stage. And all of us are going to have different roles to assume. We're all going to be actors on a stage. And you can always reinvent yourself. So you're never locked in stone, which is why you can always decide to drop a reality that isn't serving you. You can always drop a frequency that isn't serving you. You can always do that. You're never locked in. It doesn't matter who you piss off. At the end of the day, this is your game, and you get to create your reality. Now, where things went awry is that there was a loophole. That's just how I see it. There was a loophole. Well, if I have a free will, then I'm allowed to violate your free will because I have a free will. You see? So this loophole kind of opened up a Stargate, and all these other beings started coming in. And they were like, ooh, now we can really get drunk on our power. Because now we can make everyone feel like they're inferior to us. And we're going to use that to control them. Because they've already forgotten who they are, so they're more susceptible to believing a lie. Which is why it is imperative that we do not blame the banking systems, the governmental structures, because we created those. It's like if I said to you, oh, so you won't believe, and let's just say for a minute that I'm more, I know that I'm in the game and you don't know that you're in the game. And I decide I'm going to control you. So imagine now that I say to you, so, I'm seeing a future timeline where all the banking systems are gonna topple. So why don't you invest your money with me? And you're like, oh my God, yes, thank you so much. In that moment, because you haven't used your discernment, you're gonna hand your power and your authority over to me. And your authority is directly linked to your autonomy. You're an autonomous being of frequency. But what we did in the past is because we were asleep, we had fallen off from that higher consciousness, we were quick to turn over our power to other people. And as you guys know, every energy, every consciousness wants to grow. So once that consciousness was validated via having this person invest with you instead of the banks, it wanted to keep expanding and expanding and expanding. And then that resulted in all these corrupt systems of control and dominion, which want to keep you stuck in your slumber, because if you awaken, you're going to pose a huge threat to all of their structures. They don't want that. They don't want you to pose a threat to what they've been trying to keep hidden, which is that they've been controlling you and using your free will against yourself to capitalize on you. But we can't blame them because we're responsible for that. So the main quote that came to me today was, until you hold yourself fully responsible for how you respond to how you attract, you will not become a creator of your reality. Until you hold yourself fully responsible for how you respond to what you attract, you will not become a creator of your reality. And why do I say how you respond? Because evidently we are in this melting pot. Planet Earth is a cooking pan. There are all these different ingredients, people with different agendas, people oscillating at different frequencies than other people. So the truth of the matter is you don't always have control over what happens to you. You don't. Anyone who tells you, sleep with your door open, it's law of attraction, and if you don't have any fear, nothing's going to happen to you. These people who say that are ignorant. They haven't yet learned how to assume a well-rounded perception of reality. Well-rounded would mean, no, because someone can come into my house and steal my shit. Because there are all kinds of people here. The other thing is, it's more than people. There are people who are attached to people. There are different entities that are attached to people. So you can have a human, a muggle, right, who's completely spiritually asleep, but they are being inhabited and nested in, it's like a nest, by reptilian beings that will control them and steer their ship, move you into your house, steal your stuff, and congratulate them. That's how it works. So you have to have a 360-degree awareness when it comes to this plane of existence. You have to. But planet Earth is unparalleled. She's unparalleled in that this is the only planetary system where we decided to have this experience of free will. And things went awry. They went kind of crazy. Things flew off the rails. The vision I'm getting now is like, when you tickle someone and they're laughing and then they're saying stop and you keep tickling them and then it's not funny anymore, but they keep laughing, but they can't stop you because you're tickling them. That's kind of what happened to planet Earth. People were like, ooh, we have a free will, so really, I'm not doing anything wrong or out of integrity if I control you because I have a free will to control you. And if you're vulnerable to that and if you fall into my booby trap, that's on you because that's your free will. So there was a loophole. You guys get it? There was a loophole. So people who were in service to self, into nefarious stuff, into trying to control other people rather than recognizing that, hey, the free will was intended for you to create your own reality. Not so much to control other people, but rather let people be, live and let live. If someone wants to smoke cigarettes, let them smoke cigarettes. If someone wants to smoke weed, let them smoke weed. They have a right to do what they want. But things got all twisted when people were like, oh, but I can say something because I have a free will. So those people who were in service to self as opposed to service to others, they started magnetizing to them frequency that were in their likeness. So like demonic beings or reptilian beings or any other these beings are frequency. There are infinite frequencies in the universe that are roaming around and floating around. So whenever you have a thought, such as doubt, you're going to magnetize to you every other frequency that dwells at that same within that same vibrational range. That doubt isn't really yours. That doubt has spawned from all the service to self that were trying to control us, that we allowed to happen. We allowed that to happen. We allowed ourselves to be controlled. So all of the negative donation, sorry, I just saw the word donate and I said negative donations. All of the negative, what was I going to say? Okay, all of the negative emotions, not donations, negative emotions that we feel, they aren't really ours. They belong to a paradigm or to a artificial grid system that we unconsciously imbued with energy. We endowed this older grid system with our energy. Our ancestors were afraid. They're like, yes, take my money, please. I want to invest with you. They couldn't think for themselves. But in many ways, that's kind of how the evolutionary process is. A kid has to learn how to walk. It has to learn that. So Gaia was still young. She didn't know all of these things. So she was highly susceptible to infiltration. And so whenever there is an asking, meaning anytime you have a strong desire that you're pulsing out, that desire is going to be answered to every single time. It might take time because, again, we might be on a lower density. So because we're in this construct of time, things happen in slow motion. But whenever you snap your fingers, abracadabra, I want something, it's already done. Your original self, just so you guys know, I call the higher self original self. Original self has already answered your prayer or your desired. So let's now kind of tie that in with Gaia. Gaia was like, oh my God, I'm getting tickled too much and it hurts. Everyone's taking advantage of me. Everyone thinks they own land. No one owns land. That's a lie. Gaia is the land. This whole thing of I own this property and I own that, that's cute. That's really cute. But this is the planetary body of Mother Earth. No one owns anything. We don't even own the information that we share. I always ask my guides, well, why don't I just share all of this information as me? And they're always like, because you can, that's okay. But nothing that you share is new. These are old thoughts. These are old ideas. Everything was once created. Everything's already here. What you are doing, though, is being a great translator. And you're able to work to remove your filters that can distort your perception of reality so that you can be a clear conduit for information that is. Consciousness is all around us. Consciousness is within us. We're not really creating a new. We're just putting a new spin on things through our unique configuration. I have a unique DNA, just like you have a unique DNA structure. No one has your DNA. But the information that we're bringing forward isn't necessarily new. So we are channeling, we're not owning it. We are bringing information through. We don't own that information. But from another perspective, we do, because why shouldn't you give yourself credit for being able to tap into that field? It's both. We don't want to leave one out, but I'm just saying this to share a point, just to get the point across. So everything's already existing. The Akashic Records is a library of everything that's ever existed, is existing, and will exist, including what might even change. It's all of it. It's all of the potentialities, all of them. So planet Earth was like, okay, I'm getting tickled way too hard now. People have now violated me. And this isn't working for me. Because now we're on a trajectory where people will be so soulless, meaning they will have sold their soul to all these control structures, that those control structures are going to overrule, and eventually planet Earth is going to hit a brick wall. So that's when she placed a call. That's when she dialed 911. Except that she dialed Starseeds. She dialed Starseeds. I need your help. She asked her guides, which were other galactic constructs or other planetary systems, to assist her. Just like we have to ask for help. Nothing's going to get done for you. You have to ask for the help, and then you have to meet them halfway. You can't just sit on your couch all day and say, oh, my purpose is going to fall on my lap. It doesn't work that way. What are you doing to raise your vibration so that you can be open for the receiving of all that is, of all that you're intended for? You have to meditate. You have to be cooperative with your guides. You have to be cooperative with original self. Original self lives outside of time. And you are source. That's original self. You live outside of time. This is just a game. It's like a simulated reality, but it's also very real. Otherwise, planet Earth wouldn't have called us in. She dialed her phone numbers. She dialed her phone and said, we need the Starseeds. So then we were dispatched. And Sirius said, okay, you go over there. Hey, Pleiades, hey, you Pleiadian, are you up for it? Do you want to volunteer? Go over there. Go assist planet Earth. Now, when we incarnated, wow, we have 912 people here. I know I'm like on a roll right now. When we incarnated, we came from a future. So what I'm getting now is that Arcturus, Pleiades, Sirius, they are future versions of Gaia from one perspective, even though they have their individualized matrix, but they are still aspects of her. Just like your guides, you are your guides, and yet they have their own individualized matrix. But when you go back to a space of non-duality, we are all part of the same soup of God. We are the soup of God. So she placed a call, and we knew, coming from a future timeline, that going back into the past would slow us down because we're now deciding to inhabit a lower density of existence, a lower density. So the higher you oscillate, the less contrast there is. The higher that you oscillate, the less conflict, the less dramatic differences there are. On this planet, you can feel the difference between anger and frustration. You can feel the difference between joy and even happiness. You can feel the difference between gratitude and appreciation. You can feel the difference between love and hate. This planet offers that. And I'll get to why she offers that in a minute. So the higher that you vibrate, the less morality there is. You move into a space where everything is part of it. That's why you don't judge anything. Everything is meant to happen. People are meant to get disempowered, because if they don't get disempowered, how are they going to appreciate their empowerment once it arrives or once they reconnect to it? This is a planet of contrast. And contrast happens within duality. And within duality, you then have your choice. And within that choice, you get clearer. You come into more clarity as to who you are. Did that resonate with you guys? Okay. So planet Earth is a space of duality, contrast, and through that contrast, you gain clarity as to what you want to align with, what you want to disengage from, who you see yourself being, what you want to offer to this planet, what frequency you want to lend to the planetary body of Gaia and other star systems. It's a planet of choice, free will, and clarity. So we knew that we would be descending through a spiral of time and space. And what happens the more that you descend? The more that you descend, the more dense things get. Your energy condenses itself. So rather than being like this water that's fluid and that can teleport in and out of realities and be everywhere at the same time, you become an ice cube. Everything becomes dense. You forget who you are. You separate from that unity consciousness. You get programmed. You get inundated with all these limiting belief systems. And again, where did those belief systems come from? From all the people that tried to use it for their own self-gain, for their own gratification. I'm going to control you because when I control you, I feel like a god. Ooh. And this planet is a free will planet, so I can do that. If I control you, if I fool you, if I degrade your DNA, well, I'm going to feel like what I really am, because you did come from source. But then controlling other people can make you feel like you're superior to them, like you're a god. So all those feelings and emotions of doubt, fear, these were built upon by people who were of service to self. But you can't blame them because you allowed it. You opened your email and clicked on that link that you shouldn't have clicked into, and then you found yourself with the virus. And so now we're eradicating the virus. If everyone on this planet was a earth dweller, people who can't think for themselves, people who don't come with a new perspective or perception, then the planet probably would have already tumbled. Like, we would have been in way deeper of a mess than we are now, way deeper. And we're already in a mess. You know, objectively speaking, there's still a lot of tumult on this planet. There are people killing each other. There are people messing with your money. There are all kinds of things happening. That's because we let it get this far. It's completely out of balance. So the starseeds had to come to recalibrate it. So when we descended upon this density, we knew that everything would be slower, right? Who and what you are can move objects with your mind. Who and what you are knew that once you came here, you wouldn't be able to do that because you're on a different vibrational, you're in a different vibrational framework that has different laws. Up there, you can do what you want. There are different laws that preside over the different planetary systems. Down here, there are different laws as well. So we have to abide by the laws in order to accomplish our missions. And yet it would feel very confining, like, oh, it's very restrictive here. But we knew that everything would happen in slow motion. So the example I was getting the other day is when you're in a traffic jam, you are more likely to get agitated. Why? Because who you are doesn't do traffic jams. You're a starseed. You teleport. You don't need to get in a car. You do not need to get in a car. You just teleport. So when you get agitated or irritated on the road, that's a product of everything vibrating slower. But if you do get agitated and you get really mad, is that going to serve you? No, it's going to do the opposite of serving you because you're not abiding by the laws of this planetary system. So you kind of have to play the game with a high intellect. You kind of have to play the game with a third eye that's wide open. Like, okay, I'm going to do the right thing because I know that if I don't do the right thing, I'm not going to be able to be of service to others. I know that if I go out today and I let someone get under my skin and I stab them, then I can't help humanity anymore. I know this is deep. So you knew that, like, in a traffic jam, you would get agitated. So why do we feel agitated? Why? Because we need to feel those emotions in order to collapse those other timelines that are all about controlling you and dominating you. They set it up in such a way, they meaning we and everything else that we affiliated with, they set it up so that when you would get irritated, you would get mad, and then more of that energy would feed that system. It's an energetic, telepathic, vibrational thing. So when you feed into something like an argument and you're not coming from a balanced place, all you're doing is feeding the old grid system. That's all you're doing. But when you can approach a situation with maturity, what I like to call spiritual excellence, and you come with balance, then you can resolve that situation back into a space of love. So why do we need emotions in this life? I can't believe I'm talking so much. Why? Thank you for the donation, by the way. Thank you. I just got $159. I see you. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone else. So, why do we have emotions? Because it's not so much about collapsing those control structures, it's more about anchoring a new one. It's more about mastering yourself, mastering your mind, so that you can further anchor that crystalline grid, that fifth dimensional grid. That's why. So when you're in a car and you're getting really flustered, and then you take a moment and you pause and you breathe, and you make the higher choice, which is, I'm not going to get upset. I'm a higher dimensional being of love and light. I'm in this game. You can even chuckle at yourself for a minute, laugh at it because it's kind of funny. And then you're going to maintain your composure, your poise, and you've just killed two birds, one stone. One of them was that you collapsed an old timeline. And the second one is that you anchored a new one. And when you anchor that new one, it's like pulling down the blinds. When you anchor in the new one, then more people will be able to access that new emotion, which isn't really new. More people will be able to access that new emotion because you did it too. Okay? So emotions are a delivery system from our guidance system. Emotions are a delivery system from our guidance system. Emotions are original self, all of the galactics, all of the angelics, all of the extra dimensionals, all of them. Utilizing your intuition or your emotional system to integrate that emotion, to feel it, to give yourself permission to feel it without acting on it. And as you do so, you're ushering in higher dimensional frequencies, and you're also collapsing old timelines. So emotions are like the gap that needs to be seen by you so that you can bridge the gap, so that you can help planet Earth move into this higher, vibrate herself as a higher system, and so that you can bring those higher systems back here as well. You are the bridge. You are facilitating the ascension process. Now, you'll find that, and I know I'm giving you guys a lot of information today, so it's going to be a lot to process, but you'll find that the more that you augment your vibratory state, meaning that you start to oscillate at a higher frequency and you've really done that shadow work, you've really taken the time to process those emotions, the less you will feel emotions. And it's not from a narcissistic point of view. It's not like that at all. What it is that you don't have as many gaps in your system. You've created your own paradigm that is modeling those higher systems. So I've probably cried once in the last 3 years, and I'm not even kidding. When I cry, I'm so happy because I'm like, oh my God, this feels so good. Like, I love to cry, but I just can't cry half the time. Because I don't have as much of a, I don't have as much contrast within my system anymore. The physical body has to come with you. So as your physical body upgrades, it has less contrast. As we start to move and harmonize our planet, it will have less contrast. There's going to be less violence. There's still going to be tons of lessons because there are planetary systems that originate billions of years. So there will always be more lessons. I'm learning every day, but I just don't need physical drama in my life. Physical drama is representative of who I once was. But am I still working every day? Yes, I'm like a bee. I'm like a honeybee. I never stop. But I'm dealing with subtle realms, with subtleties. And it's as challenging. So if anyone tells you the second you ascend, it's over, no. You have more responsibility because now you have more access. And with more access comes more like a deeper understanding of how everything is intricately connected. So you actually have more responsibility. I never stopped working. It's just that you're not necessarily dealing with criminal stuff or dramatic stuff anymore. That belongs to a lower density or a lower mind or a hive mind, which is still governed by those control structures. So our emotions enable us, they enable us to bridge the gaps. They enable us to integrate higher energy. So the second that you open up your heart and you feel into gratitude, just like I am with A, who just donated, when you feel that gratitude, there's a portal that opens up, it activates. And automatically, higher energy comes into your system. And when that higher energy comes into your system, your vibratory rate starts to increase. Your physical container starts to expand, starts to evolve. And that's what we're doing for Gaia. We, the Starseeds, have arrived from an advanced civilization, from a future timeline where we see from the top down, we can see from the bird's eye view why this and this and this and that has to happen. We don't judge anything. We see it. It has to play out because people will eventually be forced to step into their power. Meaning, the more that they keep disempowering themselves, the more they're going to be at the mercy of other people. This isn't just about government. This isn't just about banking systems. This is about the people that you associate with. Are you at their mercy? So we understand we can't save you. All we can do, though, is imbue the grid, the new grid, with more information and keep collapsing old grids. Because then you'll be forced to like come into all that you are. It's like musical chairs. 3D is like musical chairs right now. Because starseeds are dissolving all those old timelines, and there isn't much room left. There aren't many chairs to sit on anymore. But we can't save people. You know, the Arcturians are always telling me that they deposit ingredients in the new crystalline grid for whoever wants to take them, for whoever wants to download them into their own body. Because they don't want to reinvent the wheel of like, oh, I'm going to put this in your body, because then they would take them back to the free will experiment, which was a complete flop in a way. Why would they shove something in your body when you're not asking for it? You know, I've noticed for myself, the higher that I go, the higher I climb, or the more that I remember that I am original self, the less I'm engaged with people. I don't need to interfere with their journey, because I know that people will learn when they're ready on their own account. I can't do that for them. So the more that you elevate, the less that you participate. Oh shit, I love that. I hope someone writes that down. The more that you elevate, the less that you participate. But what I mean by that is that you're participating more so in a higher dimension. So if anything, you're being even more participatory. You're not participating in lack anymore. You're not participating in let me rescue you, because you've already done it 1,000 times and you saw that all it did was backfire. I mean, I know I've done that. I can mean well, I can want to help a friend financially, and they think like, get off me. Like, I can do it myself. Okay, I'm getting off. Like, I don't want anything from you. But if you feel like I do, or if you feel like you want to do this on your own, cool, do that. I'm going to lay off. So years ago, I learned like there's no point in interfering with someone's journey. This is why the higher dimensional beings will not deposit energy deliberately into your body. They love you too much. They respect that you are on your own ascension path, and you will come to the realizations that you're meant to have on your own time. So the emotions are a notification system. And when you feel an emotion, you don't want to just bypass it. You can if you want. All right. So here's the thing. The 9 are always telling me, if you just don't want to participate at all anymore and just stay in your fifth dimensional box, you can. because eventually everyone's going to catch up, which is what I love about this universe, is that you have options. If you wanted to, you can back out of the whole thing and you could decide, I'm not going to be of service to others. I'm only going to be of service to others through my meditation. I'm going to disappear. And that would be a valid choice because eventually everyone's going to move up into the fifth dimension and there you will be. So the nine are always saying to me, Phil, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do because ascension is a natural progression. It's a natural progression. But a lot of us want to be the ground crew, which is why we're here. The Starseeds are the ground crew. They wanted to get involved by upholding that higher frequency, remembering who they are, and being the example. Not trying to convert people, not trying to interfere with people, being the example. And we are immune. As long as you are in alignment with original self, as long as you don't step out of that native frequency, then you are immune. You're immune. So what does this mean? It means that you can be in politics. It means that you can be an attorney. It means that you can be anything that you want to be. And within that, you are seeing the bigger picture. You are contributing your energy. You are broadcasting a signal. And you know that you're untouchable. You know that you're indestructible because you're in alignment. And you remember now. And then when emotions come up, feel them. I encourage everyone to feel your emotions. You don't want to just bypass. Again, if you bypass, it's okay. You have a right to do what you want. But for me, when I feel an emotion, I see it as an upgrade. That's how I regard it. It is an upgrade. There's more energy to integrate. It doesn't mean I've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean that I deserved to be treated poorly. It just means that I am on the verge of an upgrade. The upgrade is already here spiritually, and my physical body now is going to catch up to that fact. Everything that happens etherically happens before the physical. Antimatter precedes matter. So those non-physical energies will always override the physical energies, which is why now that so many people have awakened, planet Earth has empowered herself enough. She was like, I need you guys, boom, boom, boom. She got the assistance that she needed, and now she's good. She's on her way up. Haven't you noticed that when you awaken, you can't really go back? That's because that light switch is turned on. Same thing happened with planet Earth. Her light switch came on and she's like, I'm taking you guys with me. Let's go. It's like riding a horse or something. Wow, that was a lot. Okay. So we are time travelers. We are here to seed the planet with her guides' energies. And as we do so, we are anchoring in a new grid system, which naturally dissolves the old grid system. It's like a relationship. If someone is abusing you, you're not going to stick around. You're going to leave, and eventually they'll have an awakening and go, oh my God, Phil's been here this entire time. So we don't necessarily need to fix the monetary structures. We don't necessarily need to fix the religious establishments. We don't need to do that. We just need to co-join our realities, join forces, come up with new inventions, let everyone else, experience whatever drama they've created. Okay, and those frequencies, those energies, those lower dimensional vibrations are going to be there for a while because some people are still a match to those experiences, and those experiences are still a match to them. Let them have that. And then when they wake up, they'll be like, oh my God, this person, they've been building this. I was so asleep and now I see, and I think I'm going to go there and clean up my life or start over again. So what I hope is that people won't think that they have to fix everything that's already been created because it was founded in corruption from the get-go. You can't fix a broken road. You can, but it's broken. It was always broken. It was built upon manipulation, upon control, upon violation of the free will. So I don't know about you, but if I was in an abusive relationship right now, I would leave the second I got the red flag because I'm not interested in participating in that reality. And I'd go over here, over here, over here, over here, and then I'd match up with the right people, with people who are who would be a better, I want to say like a more complementary experience for me to have. And then by the time this guy or this abuser awakens, it's like, cool, I'm really happy for you. And I've been doing this for a while, and I've left. I don't know. You have a lot of catching up to do. You would never say that, but yes, once people awaken, there are layers that you have to move past. It's not an overnight thing. Every day that you get downloads, every day that you receive guidance from within, that information existed before. It comes from other galactic beings. It comes from ascended masters like Babaji and Buddha and Yeshua. So we have to move and initiate ourselves into those higher states of consciousness, which is why in my daily life, I always try to connect to the highest and highest choice. Because you'll receive tons of different instructions from different beings. Some of them will be lower beings. Some of them will be higher beings. And once you unify from within, then most of your guidance will be benevolent. But if you have a lot of contrast in your system, if you have a lot of holes, if you have a lot of programming within your system, then you'll be a match to other beings who can coerce you into doing things that you might regret. So here we are, you guys. We did it. The Starseed mission. I love you guys so much. And thank you for your donations. I really appreciate it. I hope it wasn't too much. I trust that it wasn't. And I will go for my swim now and then take a nice shower. But I'm glad that I was able to connect with you all. And I'm sending you so much love.